Hey, welcome back to Daily Hope. We're on this theme of praying for a revival of Christianity in the United States. We're looking at verses about nations. Psalm 22, verse 28 says this, "For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he rules over the nations." God rules over the nations. Now, we've been looking at the First Great Awakening. It was a resurgence of Christianity. There were a lot of Christians in the colonies, but many of them were kind of high church Christians. They didn't realize they could have a personal relationship with God. They had come from Europe, and Christianity was very much a kind of religious ritual kind of thing. It wasn't about talking to God for yourself, reading the Bible for yourself. So the Great Awakening was leaders like George Whitefield helping American Christians realize you can read the Bible for yourself. You can pray to God for yourself. At the same time, a lot of what we'd call pagans, just outright sinners, really wicked people, had also been drawn to hop on a boat, sail across the Atlantic, take a chance at dying so that they could live in a land where there were no police, there were no laws. And a lot of those reckless, lawless people were believing in Jesus, becoming transformed, and so the church was growing. There was a reviving of Christianity among existing believers, and there was a growth of radical conversions of non-believers. That's what we mean when we talk about revival. Now, within that revival, or actually I should say as a result of it, the framers of the U.S. Constitution and really the whole U.S. framework were believers whose thinking had been shaped by the Bible. We looked at a quote yesterday from the first Supreme Court Justice. We looked at a quote the day before from John Adams, who wrote the Constitution. We've got a quote today from Samuel Adams, a devout Christian who was a signer of the Declaration of Independence, big-time leader during the American Revolution when America was fighting to become its own nation and be free from British rule. Here's what he says, quote, "Religion," meaning Christianity, "religion and good morals are the only solid foundation of public liberty and happiness." So you want a nation where everyone's free and happy? You've got to have Christian morals, he says. And then he says this, "Inculcating," which means indoctrinating or training, "in the minds of youth the fear and love of God." So he says essentially, if a nation doesn't train its young people to love and fear God, it will fall apart. This is why our ministry that we call Youth Worldview is so encouraging to me, because we are seeing God bring about spiritual revival in the young people at all of our locations here at Connection Point in Indiana. We're seeing them go very deep intellectually about knowing that the Bible is historically accurate and true in all that it says, but we're also seeing them become very passionate in their hearts to live out their faith and to change their generations. So revival could happen in our time. We could see a fifth great awakening. Please pray with me for it today. I'll see you tomorrow.